Welcome back. Today we're flying the Yak-3U, and I know this is a little bit of a long video, so you might wonder if you should watch the whole thing. If you're one of those people, I can't blame you for it. Long videos are a pain in the ass to watch. I recommend you to watch this clip, as well as the clip I will have timestamped in the description, so it will update on the progress bar, so you can just click it. It will be around 13 minutes. It's me fighting a Zero, and that whole fight takes about 5 to 6 minutes. And it really showcases the dynamic of having a better performing plane versus a plane that has a very low stall characteristic, which we all know is very annoying to fight. So I think you can really learn something from the second engagement especially, whereas the first clip, the one I'm going to show you right now, is just a representation of how dumb this plane really is. If you keep this plane below 2 kilometers, minus the guns, because the guns are absolute doo-doo, below 2 kilometers this plane is insane. It really is. You will climb at about 30 degrees from the runway and you will maintain 270 IAS, which is just, again, it's insane. So what do? I climb right over the enemy, and why do I do this? If they try to pitch up after me, they will bleed so much energy that it makes him basically a sitting duck for me. I just passed over him, but I'm not going to look back over because that's this guy. Very apparent he was coming head on. So I'm not going to stall myself out in front of a Zero. He doesn't really seem to be sticking. So what do? I climb gradually. Well, he does stick, I just mean he doesn't have the energy to do so. So I look back over, he doesn't see me probably because of the spotting mechanic. It makes it a little bit harder for him to shoot. And that's why I was so aggressive with that loop. If he had seen me, I probably would have waited a little bit longer. But I saw that he was breaking off. No need to chase the Zero back down, because this Focke-Wulf is coming straight up for me. And let me just tell you, a Focke-Wulf Anton pitching up for the Yak-3U, yeah, it's not happening, buddy. You're stalled out. Set him on fire. Shoot a little bit more just to be sure. Unfortunately, it doesn't kill him. But he's not going to put that fire out. You can see him hosing me from the distance. He put the fire out. Of course he did. Very cool. So, what do? Gradual climb. That Zero isn't gonna catch me. I'm out of range for the 20 mils of the Focke-Wulf 190 because he has the FFMs, which have an airburst effect, and the MG 151s don't have that much range either. And you can tell that I'm easily outrunning the Zero. If he tries to keep pitching up like this, he's gonna die. He can't even do it. He's gonna stall out here, force a head on. Pretending to force a head on. He's gonna take it, and I loop back over, and by the time I come back down, he is stalled out. And a Zero is a plane I want to have that quite quickly. 3 fires, didn't put that one out. Absolutely toasted. Going for the 109. I have all the energy in the world right now to engage whoever I like, so it doesn't really matter who I go for. But this 109 is separated, which makes it so that it's a bit of an easier kill. Makes it very easy for me to engage him. He's basically stalling out, aim for the cockpit, managed to hit the pilot. The 190 is set on fire, crashes in the background, and that's a double kill. Go for the head on with the 109, and at this point I have so much more energy than him. I'm basically going his top speed while I'm above him. I'm diving on him. Of course he goes a little bit faster than that, but it doesn't really matter. He does the neck G and makes me miss, get a spark, miss the rest. 26 rounds left. Not really enjoying these odds, but he's very slow. I'm just gonna Zero throttle him because I outturn him as well. Isn't that just dandy? I'm not in a rush to get a shot in, so I'm just gonna park it on his 6 until I get a good firing solution. And I get a very good firing solution right here, and I completely overlead. Hit one shell, neck G some more, and as he settles down from the neck G and he starts pulling, I shoot again, overlead yet again, I crit him, and I'm out of ammo. Sadly don't manage to kill him, but I think it showcases the plane quite well, so I figured it was a good thing to put in here. And this is a little bit more footage that I had to stitch on because I wanted to talk about the timestamp as well as the stuttering you will experience at the start of the next clip. This really will only be there at the start, so you can just skip to the next timestamp I will provide, and then there won't be any stuttering. And you won't really lose out on a lot of footage because I'm simply just climbing and giving you a little bit of a backstory on what happened at the start of the match. And again, I do really recommend you to watch around 13 minutes, the timestamp will be there, but without further ado, let's get right into the next game. You might wonder, why are you showing you taking off? You normally show it when the engagement starts. so that there's not a lot of downtime in the video. Well, there's a little reason why I'm back on this runway, and to be entirely honest, I should show you this because it's a pretty big drawback of this plane, and you might already guess it if you've flown it, but I'll show you nonetheless. And the climbing is pretty boring to begin with, so it doesn't really matter. So here I'm just engaging this little A6M, set them on fire, not a problem, and now I have two Zeros really close on me. And I'm trying to dive away here because that's what you do in a Yak-3. You have to get some separation from the Zero, and once you start reaching 700, your wing will just fall off, just as you saw right there. And what I have to do now is, I will still outrun these guys because the Yak-3U is absolutely insane on the deck and I'm below 1 kilometer, so I can pretty easily get away from their guns and rotate back to the airfield. And luckily this plane flies pretty well without a wingtip. Of course you do have to be careful that you don't crash it into the ground. You want to keep your speed relatively high, because if you go really slow to say stall speeds where you normally drop the flaps on this plane, you will flip over and you will crash your plane. So what you want to do is keep it above 300, 320, try to keep as much speed as you can where you can drop those flaps, because you still have to slow down quite a substantial amount, because well, the brakes on this plane are absolutely terrible. So you can go too slow, but you also can't go too fast because you will overshoot the runway. In this case, pretty good touchdown. I got a landing using my guns to brake. Luckily I didn't use a lot of ammo. Don't take back off because this thing has a very low stall speed, so if you have some speed on the runway and you start pitching up again, there's a very big chance you're gonna pull your nose, your two wheels off the ground again, and you're going to flip over and you're going to crash as well. So you do have to be kind of careful. About 90 to 100 kph you can start drifting, and then you'll touch down and you start repairing. And now we're here, we're done with the climbing, and as you can see the climbing is extremely fast. We're only 2.5 minutes into the game and I'm already at 3 kilometers going rather fast. And once you start hitting 3 kilometers, I don't really want to go any higher. It's the middle of the game, so people aren't really climbing to orbit as they are at the start of the game. At the start of the game, I do still recommend you to go just keep climbing until you reach your desired altitude. But you do really want to drag people low. The lower you go, the more it will go into your favor. And the higher you go, the more it will go into their favor. Pretty easy stuff. But this thing really does suffer above 3 kilometers. Especially when you hit that gear switch at about 3.6. Depends on your speed. But you don't want to go into that grey web area. And you just want to stay below 2 kilometers. And you can see I go up, he can't follow because I have way more speed into the merge, so he would have started out below me. Of course the J2M is superior in the dogfight, but because he had less energy and he had to go horizontal, it allowed me to stay right on his 6. And now he's trying to pick up some speed. I will stick with him for a little bit, I can for 1 or 2 turns. He's gonna pull up, and because of the first turn he made, it put me in a very favorable position to stick on his ass, and if he tried to do anything, he'd had to fly through my guns for a little bit. And unluckily for him, he flew right through my guns and he got set on fire, and that's a J2M out of the match. J2Ms don't really like fire, but the one you're gonna see after this game is not really gonna care about it, but that's a bit of a spoiler. That match is against J2Ms and Germany, and it's a down tier, so it's a bit different. This is more representative of what you gonna see a lot, and the other game is more of a energy fight example, so to speak. So right now I'm diving on the A7 because he's very annoying to fight if he's paying attention to me. I'm gonna rip again, and I'm not gonna rip twice in one game, so I'm just gonna extend. Look at this retention, look at this climb rate. This plane does not give a single hell about your altitude. The energy this thing puts out is insane. A7 going relatively slow. Shoot a little bit, shoot one of his flaps off. I think that's his flap at least. He's not liking that damage. He has some engine trouble as well, judging on the speed. He's gonna try to push ahead on, hit his engine again, and at this point he's basically falling out of the air. If that oil leak wasn't gonna end him, that burst just did. And now you can see he's not moving at all anymore. I don't want to shoot too many rounds at him, but I do want to make sure that he dies, so I tap him twice, just for good measure. Hope I get a one shot. Don't get it, but he flies into the dirt right after that. And now I'm gonna climb away from their airfield, pick up some altitude again, because I do want some altitude. And you can see that in this very gradual climb, which I just increased, I'm not losing a lot of speed and I'm gaining a lot of altitude. And it's quite a common trait in this plane. And at this point it's 4v1. And I'm kind of debating if I want to RTB right now, because I can. because I'm relatively close to the airfield, but I don't have a lot of ammo, and I know these Shivaks don't really do a lot, so you can see me looking around, debating if I should or not. But at the same time, I don't have a lot of ammo at this point, but I do have already have some altitude, and if I go back to the base now, I will waste the altitude that I'm not gaining by diving, if that makes any sense. So in the time I would have climbed to 3 kilometers, I would still be at, well, 200 by the time I've taken back off. Of course, that's a very crude estimate, but you get what I'm saying at. And right as I turn back in, I see the J2M spotted above me, and this didn't really, I didn't like the look of this. So what do? I'm gonna spike him. Not a very good idea, but he's very slow, so I'm hoping that I can get the guns on here. And I'm basically stalling out. I don't really have a good solution, just under lead. But because I'm a bit slower, it's gonna make it so that I'm cutting into his turn. At least by a little bit. J2M, of course, again, does have a favorable position. He does have a better plane for this dogfight, and it's a J2M, which has the best flight model in terms of dogfighting. But I'm on a 6. And as long as I'm on a 6, I can kind of do whatever I want, as long as I don't get reversed. So I'm just gonna stay on him. I'm gonna do my best to stay in this position. Whether I out-turn him or out-energy him or not, I'm gonna try to put the pressure on. Because if I run right now, he's gonna be on my 6, which is not a thing I want. Because he's just gonna climb on my ass, and that's not something I enjoy. Luckily, he's gonna try to go for the spiral, but he's way too slow to do this. And I just pilot snipe him. Very lucky, probably low crew. Not too sure what happened there, because those Shivaks normally don't do that. Luckily for me though, because now I have 33 rounds per person, because there's still 3 people alive. So what do? I start climbing again. I want to reach that 3 kilometer mark, so I have something to dive out on, as well as some altitude to work on with if someone dives on me. So say someone dives on me, I can dive a little bit and get some speed without diving all the way to the deck and get pushed into other people. The Ki-61, funnily enough, was right next to me. That's the dot I saw in the clouds. I'm not too sure if you saw it. There he is. And he J'd out. Pretty unfortunate, but at the same time, this makes it so that I have 50 rounds per kill, which is, well, thanks. That Ki-61 might have just given me the win, so I'm not gonna complain. Gonna gradually climb towards the airfield, because there's still 2 people alive and I'm not too sure what they're in. I know one of them is the B7, as I saw him at the start, and that's the A6M that was on my 6, as was diving out when I ripped my wing off. And I'm in a pretty good position here to engage him. I have some altitude. AA is going ham on me, which I don't really like, but this is a very good fighting dynamic to show you how strong this plane actually is, but also showing how annoying it is to fly versus something like a Zero. I'm gonna dive on him, because I want to get him out of the match as soon as I can, because the B7 might just be an attacker or a bomber, whatever you want to call it. It's still pretty damn annoying to fight. A6M seems to be not really noticing me. I'm going 560 at this point, and I'm closing the distance. And these clouds are gonna give me a tough time, because these clouds are making it so that I can't really see my target, and he's starting to neck G, and I just lose his plane. Like the moment I reach 600 meters, his plane just disappears. He's gonna pitch back up, which is something you don't really want to do. The problem with me is I have to climb here to engage this guy, and I have to climb here to, well, produce this energy advantage, or extend the energy advantage to have some distance to actually come back on him. But then my web runs out, and I don't want to fight a Zero when I don't have my web. So what do I have to do? I have to push him down, but in a way that I don't lose all my altitude on him and he starts boom and zooming me. And you might ask, boom and zoom, being boom and zoomed by a Zero, does that really happen? Well, yeah, no, not enough lead, pull back out, drop some altitude here. I can climb about 1.5 kilometers, and you can see that I'm trying to dive here, so he sticks with me, so I can convert more of this energy into altitude. But sadly enough, after a little bit, he doesn't stick. And this makes it very annoying, because the Zero that's climbing on your 6 is a very tedious person to fight. Because all he has to do, and as you saw this in the video I made a little bit ago as well, when I flew the A6M5, if I just keep climbing, it makes it so that the other guy has to climb up for me, bleeding the energy. And if you bleed energy versus a Zero, it becomes very hard to get rid of it, as we all know. So I have to stay fast, but I also need to get energy, and I need to get altitude on him. That's the main thing. I need to out climb him, But if he keeps climbing up to the 3 km mark, I can't really out energy him. Because I can't out energy him because of my engine, and I need to stay at low altitude. I'm not gonna come in this head-on. I'm just gonna get rid of him. I don't want to do anything with that head-on. I don't have the ammo for it, and he's probably just gonna dodge it. And now again, I have to run, and I need him to shed his altitude. Otherwise, I can't really do anything. The higher we climb, the more annoying it is gonna be for me to kill him. And it's not really that the Zero is that good at high altitude. The problem is that at high altitude, this plane isn't as fast. And fighting a Zero when you're relatively slow, we all know how that's gonna end up. So I need him to drop the altitude, but I also don't need him to be a kilometer above me. I know that if I dive away right now, he's not gonna stick. He's just gonna climb, he's gonna keep his altitude, and there he goes. He starts to complain about me running. And ironically enough, he's doing the exact same thing, except I'm running in the horizontal, whereas he's running in the vertical. What he's doing is making it impossible for me to engage him without giving him all the advantages and basically throwing the game. And I'm not known for throwing the game, because I'm not gonna willingly throw the game here. Never in a million years, unless of course I've already lost here. I don't have ammo, I don't have fuel, but I have a very good fighting chance here. I have 9 minutes of fuel, I still have 90 rounds for 2 people. It's not the most, but I'm facing Japanese and they can be set on fire. So I'm probably gonna be fine. And right now, this is why I wasn't dropping my altitude, because I didn't want that guy to dive on me. And after this guy goes out of the match, and I'm doing a bit of a ballsy shit talk here in the chat, as I was getting kind of annoyed by him, by like saying that I was running when he's doing the exact same, but in a different way. A7M stalls himself out in front of me. Shoot his wing off, set him on fire. There you go. And now it's 1-on-1. Of course, rub it in a bit, make him salty, or at least make him a little bit agitated. Because what I want him to do is mess up. If he stays composed, it's gonna be a very long fight, and I don't want to fight it, see? He calls me a runner, yet he doesn't want to stick. So we're doing the same game here. But it doesn't matter, because I'm way faster than him. I'm going 620 here, which is quite a substantial speed for this BR. Because that's a Zero, and he's not gonna push anyone near this. Here I'm trying to check if that guy that's alive was the A7M I killed, because I need to be sure that that guy that's dead is actually dead. And he's dead in the middle of the field. So that's okay. So what are we going to do now? I'm gonna lay off my web. He's not sticking right now, so I don't need to go as fast as I want to. As I need to. I can just conserve it a little bit. This way I won't overheat. And this way I have more fuel. I can extend the fight, because this might be a very long one. And now I'm gonna bait him into thinking he's catching me by turning into him. And what he does when I cut into him, he will cut me off and he will close the distance. But he's not actually going faster than me. So when I then break off and he gets closer, he will burn a lot of energy, whereas I will keep most of it. And I'm gonna keep doing this until I will have the energy advantage. So I'm below him, kind of just agitating him again in the chat, because that's what you do. Little typo. He tries to hit and I run. Do I really though? Because you don't even stick. If you were to stick, I would just extend away and you'd be dead. We're both doing the same thing. And this is turning into a little bit of a stalemate. So it turns into a game of trying to make the other one agitated enough, lose its patience, so you can get the upper hand. Now he's getting 1.6 kilometers away and he's still kind of cutting me off. And you see that I'm just a little bit, like I'm just letting him turn a little bit in. So he's catching me slowly. So, and the longer he's diving, the more speed he will burn. So I want to make him think he's catching me for the longest period of time, which is what I'm doing right here. And then he breaks off again. And I don't want that. I want him to stick right now. So I'm gonna do a little turn. I'm sorry for the zooming in thing. I do this to maintain situational awareness, but of course I don't need to when it's the only guy alive. But it's just a habit. I've been doing this for 12,000 games, so it's kind of burned into my memory. He's breaking off again, so what do? I turn under him. A bait he can't refuse. And there he goes. I'm going 600 still. He's sticking with me. I'm gonna turn a little bit more for one more turn, make him catch me, and now he's done. He's toast. He turned, burned all his energy, done deal. Now all I have to do is maintain my energy advantage, which I will maintain. We're only at 1.5 kilometers, so I have about 2 kilometers to climb, and I'm way faster on the deck, and my top speed is bigger, which makes it so that I can boom us in this guy basically forever. He's gonna push ahead on here, I reckon. He didn't actually. Managed to miss this. Well, not miss, but didn't manage to get a good burst in. Only hit a few shells. Shot one of his flaps off. Not that he really needs it in this fight. What do? Make him turn back into the climb. And with this little shallow climb, if he tries to follow it, he will burn way more speed than me. And now you can see the distance I'm creating here is absolutely insane. And now he's saying that I'm running. I'm doing the same thing, but now I'm in front of you, except behind you. You see how it's the exact same thing. I don't mind it, because I'm gonna win now. You've been hit, you're gonna lose even more speed. I'm in a faster plane, better climbing plane, and I will abuse the ever-living hell out of it. I don't really feel confident here to do a loop, because he might be able to spike me and not stall out, because that's what the Zero does. I'm not gonna throw the game away now, not this far in. Let's see if he tries to pull the bait here. I'm just going to go horizontal, so if he tries to spike me, then he will not be able to get a shot off. He's doing a loop. Now he's going to go head on, because it's basically last ditch effort. That was the last shot he was going to get on me. And now I'm just going to loop him. And there you go. He's not staying with this. There's no chance in hell he's going to pitch up again. And he knows this. And he's playing it smart. All power to him. I know I'm complaining about running and whatever, but he's playing it right. But people's patience isn't unlimited, and I'm telling him to run, of course, just for actual extra salt in the wound, because that's how you do it in this game. Reduce speed. I'm not gonna rip again, just gonna keep my speed here, make him turn. If he turns once more, he's gonna be out of energy. He didn't manage to get a shot in. He's turning again. He's doing a horizontal, which is going to get him killed, because now I go up, and if he tries to follow this, there you go, he will stall himself out. I go horizontal just so that I have a little bit more turning. So if I go horizontal instead of looping up, looping straight up will make it so that he gets a very easy shot on me. But by going horizontal, I will maintain my speed, making me a harder shot, and making it so that I can drop back down earlier. And there you have it. Of course, give him a little bit of a goodbye in chat, because if you want to invite me into a shit throwing contest, I'll accept it wholeheartedly. And there you have it. Yak-3U, absolute monster on the deck, but you still don't really have any guns. Keep it in mind, very fast plane, very well climbing plane, and I hope that the footage I provided today give you a little bit of an insight to fight Japan, as well as on the plane itself. As per usual, the results will be at the end, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I will be covering crew points relatively soon here, or the P38K, I haven't decided yet, but one or the other is gonna pop up relatively soon, and the other one will pop up right after that. Well, a few days after that. And I will see you all in the next one.